episode 5, I guess this is episode 5. It's sort of getting a little bit hard to kind of keep track on where we're at and stuff because we've been pumping out a lot of content lately. But I guess in this episode we're talking about social media and the advent of social media, the positives and negatives. And in particular, at the moment, what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk, buying out Twitter, and he's catching a lot of flack for some of the changes that he's making, like the whole blue tick on Twitter, for official pages and accounts and stuff. Now he's asking people to pay $8 to get the blue tick, which I think before with the blue tick you got the blue tick because of it made it official, but I wasn't sure what the criteria was for that. You
probably still had to pay for it a lot more.
No, I don't think it was paid for. I think it was free, but I think that there was a criteria, you had to maybe apply for it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't have the blue. I am on Twitter, but I don't care about the whole official sort of stuff of it. But yeah, he's been getting a lot of flack for making some changes and charging people to get the blue tick. But now it's opened up doors for anyone to just get the blue tick and make it an official page, just because they're just paying $8, and that's what people are complaining about.
Yeah.
So,
but I think he knows that, and he was like, anyone's going to pay $8 just to get a blue tick.
True.
And it's going to be a huge rush of dopamine for a lot of people. Go, yeah, now I'm official. Look at this. Look at
two
this.
followers as well.
Yeah, and then it will die down. Yeah. But in the meantime, he's made a lot of $8. It's just crazy.
That's what he's good at. He's good at making money. That's what his business model is.
It's low enough, and people are like, yeah, well, it's a bit more than a cup of coffee, but it's not that expensive.
And although that's sort of getting closer and closer with cups of coffee these days, though.
That's very true.
But I've been sort of, because I do follow Elon on Twitter. Not that I really pay much attention, but he's been sort of trending on Twitter lately because of all the stuff that's happening. And I've been sort of making some comments on there here and there. And my whole thing is because people are complaining about Twitter and the way that it's going and stuff. And I'm like, well, it's still better than Facebook, because I can tell you right now, Facebook is an absolute trash bag of a platform.
Mm-hmm.
So
it looks like a dog's breakfast, pretty much.
It really is a dog's breakfast, but people are still clinging on to this old model of Facebook, and they don't realize that, especially the younger generation, they're not even on that platform anymore.
I actually think Zuckerberg has actually dumped it. It's pretty much he's focusing all his energy on Instagram.
Yeah.
And his other... Well,
Instagram's way better than Facebook, even though it's a different platform. But Facebook is just... It went downhill years ago, and people are still clinging on to it, and they're still... No one gives a shit about it anymore. It's so they're having to go at Twitter and Elon for the way that Twitter's doing things. But I'm like, it's still 10 times better than the shit house that is Facebook. So I'm sorry, but if you want to get rid of a platform, let's get rid of Facebook and move on to some other things that are actually much better,
Yeah, because I remember when MySpace was still a thing. So Tom's MySpace.
Yeah, and he was your first friend as well.
Yeah.
Wonder what happened to that guy. Where did he go?
I have no idea. I think I've looked it up a few times, but it's just, I guess it's okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's I remember the first stages where top friends, and it was very, very hurtful to rate your friends.
Yeah.
And it was
and you had to try and get into their top lists and stuff, and it was a whole competitive thing. And
I think it gave a lot of people trauma, whether or not they liked it or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a huge dog's breakfast. But I remember, when people just first say, "Oh, I'm on Facebook now," and it's why don't you add me as a friend? I'm like, what do you mean? Just add me as a friend or something.
And that's just the other thing that I don't like about Facebook. Because it took me a long time to even get onto that platform, to be honest. Once I saw everyone was going onto there and they were doing stuff through that, I was like, well, I guess I have to kind of go on there, because it was harder to get sort of get in contact with people through other sort of means. So I kind of was forced to kind of go in there. But what I noticed was really strange, and it's even more bizarre now, is that when and I'm sure Facebook did this intentionally, how they say when you add a friend, they call it add a friend, and it's not like following or anything like that. They literally call it adding a friend. And people have now used that as a way to say, I've got friends on Facebook, as if they're real friends.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, he's a mate of mine. I'm like, no, he's just on Facebook.
Exactly. And that's what Facebook did. They kind of, it's almost like a psychological sort of marketing strategy that they use to bullshit people into thinking they actually had friends through Facebook, making them thinking they were actually real friends. And like, you talk to anyone and they'll say half of the people on their friends list they've either never met or have very little contact with, or are not really considered friends. So, and that's one of the things that I really didn't like about it, is like the psychological element that they added in there to bullshit people into thinking that you actually had friends on there.
Yeah.
So
like there's so many people you may have spoken to a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just sitting there,
and then you call them a friend, like I'm friends with him on Facebook. What does that even mean? You're friends with him on Facebook? Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And then you've like you've got people from work there, and then you got to forget to hide your stuff from there because they know, oh, he chucked a sickie.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But so I don't know. Like I moved away from Facebook a few years back, but then sort of people were wondering where the hell I went, because they were like, "Well, you no longer saw any posts." Like literally, I didn't post anything for like 3 years or something.
And they're
like that
still tagging you and stuff.
Yeah, I know. People were tagging me and stuff, and wondering why I wasn't like, engaging on any of the posts. And I'm like, I haven't used that platform in years. And then once people were harassing me about it, I just went, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to start an Instagram account, and then I'll just link to my Facebook account, and then that way people can still sort of see what I'm up to. But then people are still commenting on and acting like as if I'm posting on Facebook, and not realizing that I'm actually seeing none of the shit that they post on there.
Yeah.
Like I don't follow anyone, I don't see anything or anyone on Facebook. Like if they're on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, I'll follow people and all that stuff, and I'll see what they're doing. But I just flat out refuse to like engage and look at Facebook anymore. I'm sort of so done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it frustrates me that people are still stuck on it. There are certain people that you and I both know that are still just stuck on that platform, and it's just like, dude, man, that platform's dead. It has been for a long time. That's why Zuckerberg has made all these changes with like Meta and all this shit, because he realized that platform has just been dying for a long time. So, and obviously, like you said, focusing on Instagram, because that's kind of where things are. And even Instagram to some people is even a it's like old hat kind of thing, and they've moved on to like TikTok and all these other platforms and stuff. There's so many other platforms out there that I don't think people actually realize. Like it goes beyond Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yeah, there's like 1,000 of them on there now.
Yeah, I think everyone's trying to get in on it and trying to make a difference, and trying to steal everyone's stuff. I mean, like, it's like Facebook wasn't, it peaked, and then Instagram came along and was better. Then what do? They go and buy it because it's more successful than their platform. Yeah. And that's pretty much what business is. If someone's doing success, they pay them out and tell them to get out.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're basically killing off by buying them out, they're killing off the competition. Yeah. So they can kind of rule the roost.
Which is not really good, because you get like some censorship, that's a real big problem for some people. Some people don't mind having all the censorship, but it should be freedom of information. You should be able to look up anything you like within reason. Obviously. Yeah. But you should be able to know like certain things that are going on. And we live in a day and age where corporations are going to hide their data or their information, because it's going to make them look like real terrible companies that aren't very good. Yeah, and they're potentially going to lose lots of money, and that's not good. So there's been a lot of things coming out where people like, we've been telling you for a long time, and no one listens. So yeah, I think that's the same with the aliens things. Like, more and more stuff is coming out, and people are like, well, look, come on, guys.
People are not paying attention. Yeah, we've already talked about this before as well. Which it's a fascinating subject, but. Yeah, like the social media thing, like I like the censorship in particular, like it's certainly gotten worse on Facebook and Instagram. Like that's very sort of sensitive. There's only certain things you can post, especially during COVID. There was a lot of censorship going on about misinformation and stuff like that. Twitter, on the other hand, is kind of what I like about the Twitter platform. And I understand, like, especially in Australia, Twitter's not really a big thing. Although it depends on where you sort of look at it from. I guess in the entertainment industry, Twitter is sort of like the go-to platform. Even in Australia, believe it or not. Like, there's a lot of industry people that are sort of using Twitter. And it's mostly because it's just a much easier platform to utilize. And it's like pretty much in the moment kind of thing. Whereas like Facebook and Instagram, it will tell you about stuff that happened like 3 days ago. Like, it will just continuously show stuff. Whereas Twitter's a little bit more sort of, you know, in the moment. And if you miss it within that sort of period of time, then, you know, whatever, it's it, you know, which is like life, you know, you can't be there for every single moment. But Facebook's like trying to tell you, look at all the things you missed and all this sort of stuff, you know. It's a very psychological kind of stuff. But Twitter doesn't have as much the censorship that Facebook and Instagram has. It's like a little bit more free for all. There is some censorship, but it's like more the really, really bigger stuff. And Twitter's a little bit more, you can kind of do and say whatever you want to a certain degree, you know. Like, there's some stuff on Twitter that you can get away with, but you cannot get away with on Facebook. Yeah. It's just how it is. And that's kind of what I like about it. And there are definitely a lot of other platforms and stuff as well. Like the YouTube's equivalent, Rumble, which is, I guess it's a little bit more political, but they're a little bit more about whatever you've got to say and do whatever, they're okay with it. You know, they're not censoring you like YouTube does. Because YouTube is essentially another social media platform now. And that's run by Google, and they have their own sort of thing about like, you know, what you can and cannot say and stuff. So
I think it's good to have a little bit of competition though.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And the thing is that people have been moving away from YouTube to go onto Rumble to kind of, you know, speak their mind on certain subjects that they weren't able to do on YouTube and stuff. So, and there are many other platforms like that out there that are just not mainstream aware, like people aren't aware of, you know. But if you dig around enough and you're looking for somewhere else to kind of go away from the major ones, they're out there. There's plenty of them out there. So they just don't have the big audiences that, you know, like Twitter and Facebook and stuff have. So another option. But then, I don't know, I mean, you know, we remember our life, you know, our time when there was no social media. So do we really need it?
No.
Not
I actually
really.
felt like a lot happier when I didn't have to, you know, check all that bullshit. Yeah. No, I just don't think it's really. It's had its moments, but I don't find anything that, you know, email or MSN Messenger. I'm like, that died. That was cool. I had good memories about
Remember
MSN.
the AOL chat rooms and stuff as well, and
all those good times, you know.
I remember like message boards and forums were the big thing back in the day, like, you know, before social media. And when Facebook came around, I remember, this is just a glorified version of a message board, essentially. And it still is. It's just that they've added so much crap to it now that it's just become it's kind of just lost whatever initial idea that it had. But forums and message boards were great in that you could just sort of drop opinion or a subject, a topic or whatever, and then you can just come back to it later on. You can always find it. The trouble with Facebook especially is like when you're trying to engage in a conversation and then you go away from it and want to come back to it, sometimes you cannot find it. Especially if you get tagged and stuff as well. It's like, you click on it and then where the fuck did it go? Like, it's not, you can't find it.
You have to get good at it, you know, to track it down.
Whereas message boards are like, you just know exactly where it is, like it's there, and you can, it was a much easier, you know, platform to use, but it just wasn't real time like Twitter and Facebook can sometimes be, you know. Well, certainly not Facebook, but, you know,
because then stupid notifications that you don't really care about come up, and then they take up the feed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Is like I said before, like it's just trying to tell you about all the things that you've missed or things that are happening or whatever, and it's like, you know, so it's a different. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where all of this goes as well. Like, where is social media going to go? I just like, it's like people have been waiting for Facebook to die off in the same way that MySpace died off. And it kind of is in a sort of weird way. Like, it's like an obligation to have a Facebook account, but then, you know, there's a lot of people that don't really use it. Like, they have it, and they'll scroll through it, but they don't really use it. They don't engage on it properly, not like other platforms, you know?
Yeah.
But then, what will take over? Is there anything? I mean, it's. I think what it is that there's just so many other options to go to that people are just there's no one big thing anymore. It used to be just like Facebook and Twitter was the big ones. Now it's like, no, you can go do this and you can go do that. And people are on their own little, they find their own little sort of bubbles to sort of gravitate towards. And that was exactly how message boards and forums and even chat rooms back in the day worked. Like, you found your community and you sort of just hung around that community and you got to know people. And, you always just kind of come back as a regular and stuff like that. And it doesn't seem like you can do that with social media for a lot of it. There's no community feeling about it.
Yeah, I think it's mostly mums and dads now.
Now it is, yeah, definitely, yeah, and that's why kids are not using it anymore, because their mums and dads are on it. I mean, if you're gonna think like when you're a kid, you don't want to be, hanging around your mum and dad. You know what I mean? That's just not what you want to do.
Yeah,
it's just a natural, like especially as a teenager, you want to be away from them as much as possible. I mean, I'm not saying that in a negative way, but that's just a natural way of things. That's how it is, So that's why Facebook has literally become the mum and dad sort of,
And people love giving just Facebook out because then, not personal numbers or anything like that, so that you can easily block someone.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but I find like it's just making things worse, because it's just so much crap that's on there,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of they've worked out quite easily how easy it is to change people's beliefs and everything like that, and just to use that to advantage, because corporations love to make you buy more of their products. And I think like social media, they're always selling stuff, you know, like,
well, Facebook is essentially a big advertising platform. It's all it is now.
And then you've got like Twitter, with the $8 blue tick. Everyone's who's obsessed about, getting a blue tick now. They're trying to impersonate everyone, and it's created a whole bunch of hell. Ever since like Elon Musk took over. So you got people, pretending to be a company, and then potentially damaging the company by like impersonating, and then people go, I'm not supporting this company because I saw this thing. That account will get suspended because they're impersonating. But it's like the damage has been done, so there really needs to be something to be done. But I don't think Elon really cares, because as long as those $8 keep coming in, he does not care. He's just suspend it.
But
if you want to be suspended for $8, no worries,
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like what he does, like what kind of change, what else, what other changes he'll make to it as well. But like I said before, like whatever he does, it's still going to be 10 times better than the shit house that Facebook is.
Yeah, like, I'd be amazed if Twitter actually outdid, like it grew so much that it beat Instagram and all these other things, and like, wow, everyone that wasn't really using Twitter is now using Twitter.
And I mean, like I said, like it hasn't really caught on in Australia yet.
No, not really.
Because a lot of people have said, "Oh, I don't know how it works," and we're like, "It's not that complicated. It's like far, far, far easier to use than Facebook." Like like I've had conversations with, like, when I do interviews with musicians, through my other job. I've had some conversations to people where I kind of follow some of these guys on Twitter, and I ask them, like, what is it about Twitter compared to the other ones that you like? And the most common answer is that it's just easier to use. Essentially, like, you can just literally just tweet out something, drop it and run, and that's it. Like, there's no step-by-step thing that you got to do with Facebook. Like, it just seems like it's such a fucking process to do shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like, it shouldn't be that difficult to use, because it's so bombarded with so much crap on there that it's become way more complicated than it should be.
And it's very restrictive. Like, you can do something on Facebook but you can't do it on Insta or the other way around.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
And they're combining the two, saying like, hey, we're linking our services together. Oh, but you can't do this, and that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but why link it if you can't do that?
Yeah.
No.
I used to be able to link my Twitter account to my Facebook account. I did that for a number of years, and then they cut that. I couldn't do it anymore. That's when I just went, well, I'm not using Facebook anymore then. Like, fuck you, I'm not using it anymore, so I'm just going to stay on Twitter. So,
well, the reason why I actually downloaded Twitter is because the connections that you can have with the bands or something, or you can follow them.
I genuinely engage a lot more on Twitter, just mostly with like, because it's all industry people on there, like the entertainment world, music world, and all that kind of shit. That's kind of where they're all gravitate. That they're just sort of, they're having conversations and engagements on there, and they're not doing that on Facebook. Like, I've noticed that, like, if you have a look at band accounts and have a look at their feed and the things that they do on there, it's way different than Facebook. Facebook is literally just an advertising platform. We're doing this, go buy this. Like, we're we're going to be playing at this show, or our album's coming out on this date.
Yeah.
That's all it is now. It's just a big advertising platform. But on Twitter, they're conversing with fans. They're engaging with them, connecting with them, answering questions. They're not doing that on Facebook. And I know that I've tagged bands on Facebook before, no response.
Well, the one thing is, I know that if bands actually do talk after they've dropped the post, it will be like for 20 minutes and then no more. So you've got all these other people trying, hey, I want to have
it's time consuming. You can't possibly respond to everything, you know.
Yeah.
So,
but in Twitter, it's a bit easier.
It's easier, yeah. But then they still have that drop off. They can't answer every single question. Although there are some musicians that actually do, like the Dino Cazares from Fear Factory. He's like huge on Twitter. Like, he just uses it all the time, and he literally will respond to like every single like comment and question and all that. I'm like, dude, like, how much time in a day do you have to answer all these questions? Like, and you're also digging yourself a hole, but like, also not also just answering like positive stuff, but also responding to all the criticisms. Like, it's gonna do your head in after a while if you keep doing that. Like,
I wonder the actual psychological impact it would have on your mental health.
Oh, I think it would have an impact, definitely.
Yeah, because to me, it's kind of like having a whole bunch of invisible people hating on you, and you don't really care about them before.
You don't know these people. Who gives a shit what they think? Yeah, exactly.
It's not the people in your circle that are having a go. It's like all these randoms, and
but that's part of the not consequence, but like it's part of the package. Like when you sort of develop a profile for yourself, just obviously with celebrities and stuff, that along with all the good positive stuff comes a lot of like shit stuff, like, and that's just part of the deal. Like, but what you do with that is like your choice. Like, I guess you need to at some point just ignore all that stuff, because otherwise you'll just be. It'll have an impact on your like your mental health and everything. Like, you hear about all these people, especially like, these influencers and stuff like that, who you kind of develop all these sort of, mental health issues and stuff. And a lot of times you find out it's because they've been just so engaged with like so much negative criticism. But it's like
some of them kill themselves because of it.
But I think if you have some perspective and look at it, you outweigh like the negative criticisms are always going to be a small minority. All the positive stuff is going to be much bigger. So why would you focus on the negative stuff rather than the positive stuff?
Yeah.
Just ignore the negative stuff and just look at all the people that have been supporting you.
People are always going to say bad things.
Exactly. It's just like, and the more the more well known you get, the more negative stuff that comes along with it.
Yeah, but you didn't have like as much positive stuff when you first started out, so
Yeah, well, I guess that's an issue. If you have way more negative stuff than positive stuff, then you might want to readjust what you're doing. Then probably, like if we start getting way more negative stuff about what we're doing here, then we might have to change our game a little bit.
Yeah, so, that's true.
But hopefully, we don't get that. So.
I do like the one thing on Twitter is if something drops or some information happens or something happens straight away, it will spread quicker than like the news will be able to get the information out.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to hear about something, you're like, now it's trending.
Yeah, exactly.
And, by then you've got all these journalists crunching on their laptops going, trying to get all this information out. So,
yeah.
It's a great thing about Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different platform though. Like, people were saying, "Oh, no, I'd rather use Facebook or Insta to Twitter," but it's like it's fine. Like, it's just a different platform. It's not. None of these platforms are really the same. They've all got their own sort of different things, and it depends on, I guess, what you want and your personality and all that stuff, which one you sort of use. I kind of feel that if some people gave Twitter a chance and actually tried to use it,
they might like it.
They might like it. Yeah, I'm not saying everyone would, but I'm just saying that it might. You might see the benefits of how that works compared to like how Facebook works. And I think what turns people off is that you generally don't get as much followers on Twitter as you would on, say, Facebook. The difference, however, is that you're more likely to get more attention on Twitter than Facebook, because Facebook's algorithms work where, like, if you have a page, you're only reaching about 5% of your audience organically, and then Facebook tries to tell you to pay for the rest of it. So that's how they work. Whereas Twitter is a little bit more, I'm not saying they don't have their own algorithms, but it's a little bit more organic, and that you're more likely to reach a more organic audience on Twitter, even though you might have no followers at all. I have very little followers on my Twitter account, but I am able to reach more people on Twitter than I am on Facebook, just because of the way that platform works, you know. And if you use the right keywords and hashtags and stuff like that, you know, jump on those sort of.
You get randoms like commenting.
Exactly, yeah, it happens all the time, but you don't see that anywhere near as much on Facebook. And I think people have tried to do the hashtag thing on Facebook, but it doesn't seem to work on that platform. Instagram definitely works better with the hashtags and all that. So it's all a learning experience and trying to figure all this stuff out. But it's, as time has gone on, it seems like they're all trying to make it more complicated, more difficult, and that seems to be definitely geared towards advertising and money. Like, it's all oriented around like how much money they can make off of you, you know. So which is a pain in the ass, because that's not what initially the whole idea of social media was about. Social media was all about supposed to be connecting and conversing with people. Now it's all about how much money can they make from you.
Yeah,
you know. So it's no longer even about social media. It's about it's like the new TV. Facebook's like the new TV. It's like, it's all advertising. It's all stuff like that. Like, do you remember, if you look back in the story of how TV started, it wasn't about TV shows and movies. It was an advertising platform. It was a way to sort of push products and stuff like that. And then in the middle of the advertising, they would try to fill in some entertainment shows.
Yeah.
That's what it started out as. And I kind of feel that that's what social media has become, but in a reverse way. So it's become like a big advertising platform. And you could say TV is probably the same now as well, I guess. But I haven't watched TV in a long time, so I don't know how TV works anymore, you know. So, but I assume it's still the same.
Yeah, still is cringe.
Probably more ads than before.
Probably, yeah. I think so. It's even when it's on digitalized, like, you've got the channels. They run the platform like Netflix or Prime or whatever.
Yeah, I think last I heard, Netflix was adding a new option for a cheaper monthly rate, but
with ads.
With ads, yeah.
What are you doing, guys? Like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, because, you know, the whole reason of using Netflix is to get away from the ads.
And that's the same with Foxtel as well. Like, pay TV. You got that because there was no ads.
Yeah, you're paying for the no ads thing.
So what are you paying for?
Spotify does that as well. Spotify some podcasts will add like advertisement in the middle of their shows. I mean, I understand why they do it. They're generating an income and stuff. But like, if you're paying for a subscription in order to remove the ads, and then more ads still pop up, you kind of feel like you're getting ripped off a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's like you're getting programming. I must buy this product.
Yeah.
You know,
does anyone actually buy stuff because they saw an ad on like TV and so?
No, I have.
Really?
Yeah, I've been like, shut up, take my money. It's like,
I guess it depends on what it is.
And then I'm just like, oh, why did I buy that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then I'm more aware of it, you know. But then you've just got to sit it out for like a couple of months and go, no. They're just wanting me to buy this, and I don't really need it. So.
And all the ads, like especially on social media, like ads are now geared towards, based on your interest and the searches that you do online. Like, it's all connected, like with all those cookies and stuff like that. Like, they know kind of roughly what you're into, and so they'll try to show ads that you might be interested in, you know, looking at or liking. So
can you imagine if they controlled you so that all your disposable income was to buy whatever that you saw, and you're just like so brainwashed, you're like,
yeah, well, I think that's what they want. It's kind of where it's all sort of
and
going.
And you stay poor because of all this buying that you do.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about just a few seconds ago, whatever happened to LinkedIn? Like, it just seems that a lot of people are just pushing, or businesses are pushing it when they weren't before.
Well, LinkedIn is more of a sort of business profile, I guess. So if like, especially if you're looking for a job and you want to connect to other like employers or employees or other businesses, I think that's what LinkedIn is all about.
People are saying, get on LinkedIn, get on. It's so
people
good.
have said that as well. I've never really used it. I've never set up an account.
I've set up an account, but I was like, it just seems like way too time consuming to get it set up properly. But
but it seems to be more business, or like if you're into like the business side of things, and you have a profile and you want to connect to other business like people.
Yeah,
that's what it seems to be
for career people. I think it really works well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but
for anyone who's just like happy to go from whatever to whatever, float around because you don't really know what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
pretty specific. It also acts like a bit of a resume as well, like a list of things that you've done, your employment history. Because I think employers do look at that as well when they're like sussing out like potential employees. They look at that, the LinkedIn pages if you have one. Yeah, I mean, I've heard the same thing as well. People have said you need to get onto it and stuff. But I think if you're looking for a job or a career, I think that's
Yeah, and then like you've got like, the one thing I was a bit cringy. Some companies people probably know, but they create like an internal like social media for that company that no one else can.
Yeah. Like an intranet kind of thing.
Yeah, intranet, and they're like, comment, like this stuff, and do all this stuff. I'm like, you guys aren't gonna get this off the floor. It's like no one cares about the work one. You know
exactly.
So I think
I get why they do it though. It's sort of. It's like their own little sort of bubble,
And they only post their information on there so that you have to go in and look at it, and you're like, no, I don't want to.
I've been a part of those things before, but I've never like engaged with it, or I just just ignore it. So
I think it's stupid.
Yeah. Oh well. So I think that's enough on social media because I think not even just trying to be part of that whole game is frustrating, but I think even talking about it to a certain extent can be sort of frustrating a little bit. Just all the ideas and the arguments and all that kind of stuff. It's just it kind of tires you out after a while.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's good to take a break for a week or something. Yeah. I know some people can't do it, but try it. You'll be see how you are.
Some people do that. They kind of like literally take a break and they just go offline for like a week. And I think that's a healthy thing to do, I think. Because, like I said before, like you remember a time when there was no social media. What were you doing with your time before that, Like,
I was doing productive things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you were doing things rather than talking about doing things.
I wasn't scrolling like a mindless zombie, trying to get dopamine. Like, oh, yeah, dopamine,
Anyway, we'll leave it at that. So I guess for those, thanks, by the way, for everyone tuning into our last episode, the comedy, offensive humor and all that kind of stuff. It got a bit of traction, so we were kind of surprised that a lot of people were catching on to it and enjoying what we were talking about. So thanks for everyone for tuning into that one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so if you can, to help the algorithms and all that, speaking of social media,
comment,
subscribe to us, like us, all that kind of stuff. Do all that thing to kind of support us if you want to. I know all this stuff is for free, so the least we can ask is just to give us a thumbs up or a subscribe or follow.
Just a helping hand,
Yeah, and so we're on Facebook and Instagram, ironically, but you kind of have to, I guess. All our content goes on YouTube and on our Spotify channel. So all of our links are available in the actual link tree thing if you want to sort of suss it out. So at Chimps Chinwag, most of the content is on at Chimps Chinwag. So there you go.
Excellent.
Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next episode. Yeah, episode 5. Awesome. We're getting there. We'll celebrate on number 10, I guess, with something special.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, guys.